Hello, everyone. This is TJ, also known as GFan84, and today with me I have Fade Salvation.
Hello, fading in
So,
here.
yeah, fading in, of course. That's how we have to do it.
Yeah.
So, today me and Fade are just talking about the Godzilla series in general. Some of our favorite movies and characters in the series, and do kind of like just a little discussion on the series as a whole and where we think it's going to go. So, starting out, Fade, what is your favorite Godzilla movie of any of the series?
Probably Godzilla Tokyo SOS.
Well, I figured from your icon there. Yeah, yeah, I figured from your icon, and as you can probably guess from my icon, mine was Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Yeah.
You have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a cat. Anyway, no. So, what did you like about Tokyo SOS the most?
Um, Probably when Mega Godzilla becomes kind of like sentient and,
Oh,
grabs,
toward the end.
yeah, when he grabs Godzilla and goes into the ocean with him. I mean,
Hmm.
considering he was made from the bones of the original Godzilla that was
Right,
destroying Tokyo.
right.
It was a nice moment there
Yeah,
where Mega Godzilla was actually defending the humans rather than trying to destroy them.
right. But it almost showed like that kinship they still had because they're both of
Hmm.
the same species. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was nice touching. And then at the end, I remember it's displaying goodbye, like in English.
Hmm.
And so it's like it was sentient in some way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
Um, Another so for me, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. One of my favorite things about that movie, I love the burning Godzilla design. I thought that was
Oh yeah.
really unique. I mean, you kind of know it sucks because he's in a lot of pain and like it's
Hmm.
towards the end of his life. But just that form, and it's one of the more powerful forms you ever see him in.
Hmm.
Apart from like Godzilla Earth or uh,
Hmm.
2019's King of the Monsters, Burning Godzilla.
Hmm.
But I thought that was a great design. I like the story um, of that movie. Probably my favorite part, honestly, is finally seeing Godzilla Jr. look more like Godzilla.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part because between Minya and Little Godzilla, they kind of looked a bit too cute and
Hmm.
what have you, and they never really resembled Godzilla that well.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good that they finally, decided, hey, why don't we make it actually look like Godzilla for once?
Hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Legendary Lion, how are you?
Hello. Hello.
Hope you're doing well today. But yeah, so that was my favorite as far as overall Godzilla. Now, so here's the opposite question: what do you think was the worst Godzilla movie?
Mm. Thinking back on it, it would have to be Godzilla versus what's the smog monster's name?
Hedorah.
Hidora, yes.
Yeah, didn't like that one at all.
Well, it was okay. It just wait a minute. No, I take that back. It wasn't Hidora. It was Godzilla's Revenge. I think it was called,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh huh.
where it was like the kid was like daydreaming or something.
Yeah, the whole thing was a dream, and it was all
Hmm.
stock footage. Yeah.
Hmm.
Fun fact too, that one was actually directed by Yoshiro Honda, who directed some of the best Godzilla movies. So that's always kind of surprising when you really think about it. Considering one of the worst Godzilla movies, that's the one he directed.
Yeah. Well, you always got to start out somewhere, though.
Yeah, that's true. But so for me, oof, probably have to be Godzilla '98.
Oh yeah, Godzilla versus Bayonetta. If I remember
Huh?
right,
No,
Bayonetta,
no,
the
no,
flower monster.
no. Godzilla '98.
98.
TriStar.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I forgot.
Yeah, everyone wants to
Yeah,
forget about that one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that one yeah. Uh
yeah.
America's first attempt at a Godzilla movie. And yeah.
I still find it funny to this day how Toho bought the rights back just to
Yes.
destroy
Yep.
that monster.
Now that's dedication right there. That's
Uh-huh.
spite. If you're actually willing to pay money just to just to destroy
Yeah.
something. But yeah, I
Uh,
didn't the that movie with it. The plot was too comical. Nothing was taken seriously in that movie.
mhm.
Um, it just it wasn't done very well. Plot like the design itself wasn't great either. But past the design itself, I mean, the more I remember watching it, the more I'm thinking this what movies made to almost make fun of Godzilla movies because just um, nothing was really taken serious in this movie. But to
Yeah.
the point of it being a parody almost.
Yeah.
Even the military guys were like, useless, and that type of thing.
Yeah, and especially how Godzilla wasn't, male or female. It
Oh yeah,
was.
yeah, that was even better. Yeah,
Mm,
Rodan versus King Ghidorah. Oh yeah,
mm,
which part? Which one? Which movie? Ghidorah the three-headed monster, Monster Zero, or were
yeah.
you talking about the Godzilla King of the Monsters, Legendary? Wonder which one he's talking about.
I don't know.
Because yeah, that happened actually a couple times with Rodan and King Ghidorah. But
Mm,
so as a series as a whole, in your opinion, are there any human characters that stand out well for you?
hmm. Um, Probably the creator of Jet Jaguar
Oh yeah, yeah,
and his friend. Those were the two that probably stood out to me.
yeah, yeah. Oh crap! What was? Hold on. Let me look that up real quick. I want to see who that was.
It was. Hold on. Let me look that up too. I think it was because I know on one the villains on there looked like an American actor too.
Yeah, the a leader of Seatopia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy looked.
Goro.
Mm,
The inventor's name was Goro
oh, okay.
Kabuki. Goro. Oh, Godzilla
Oh,
King
okay.
Monsters Legendary. Yeah, that was very brief, but a pretty good
Mm,
fight. Yeah, very brief but good fight. I think it's kind of funny because we were just talking about the first American Godzilla movie, which is Godzilla '98, and how terrible that turned out.
mm.
One of the things though that's I'm kind of thankful for is that movie showed how not to make a Godzilla movie.
Oh yeah.
And you can really tell when Legendary was made Godzilla 2014 that they wanted to distance themselves like far away from that movie.
Yeah.
And for as much as people were saying Godzilla wasn't um, in the movie that much in Godzilla 2014. I mean, the movie probably out of all the movies in the Legendary MonsterVerse was the most serious. I mean, it was
Yeah, it
dead
was.
serious. I
Yeah.
mean, they made it seem like as realistic as possible, and I credit
Hmm.
Gareth Edwards for doing that.
Yeah.
Um, they really try to give it this air of dread and
Hmm.
darkness to it. And then as you progress through the MonsterVerse movies, they get a lot more lighthearted, not necessarily in a bad way, but like a lot
Hmm.
less, about being realistic. they literally took the route that Toho takes when they made the Showa series, which was, the first Godzilla movie was, dark and foreboding and
Mm.
kind of very much a tragedy. And
Mm.
then as the movies progressed and they became more juvenile, I mean, you got more off the wall kind of monsters.
Mm.
That's exactly what Legendary did, because then Kong Skull Island, that was great. That was a great structure wise. That was excellent movie. Um, and like it felt more like a grand adventure. Then you had
Mm.
Godzilla King of the Monsters, which for many Godzilla fans it is probably one of the best they could have made.
Yeah.
Um, Even though like movie wise it kind of falls short a bit, but I mean as far as if you're a big Godzilla fan, that's probably one of the best Godzilla movies they ever made
Yeah.
for the American production. Then you have Godzilla versus Kong, which really goes off the wall. And the one nice thing about that one is Godzilla and Kong are more like the actual central characters rather than the
Mm.
humans. Like
Yeah.
really, you could probably have cut out half of the cast, and it
Mm.
would still be play out the same way because they really didn't focus that much with the cast at all in that one. It was all
Yeah.
about Kong and Godzilla.
Yeah. The only problem I have with that though is I wish they fleshed out Serizawa's son a bit more
Yes,
rather
yeah, everyone
than
says that. Yeah,
make him
yeah,
like the generic bad guy, you know?
yeah. And then he just dies,
Mm.
and you don't even get any backstory. Like out
Yeah.
of all the human characters, I was most interested, and that's the one that they didn't really explore.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
director himself even said though, there technically he had a 4 hour long movie or something like that with a whole bunch of backstory and stuff like that,
so
explanations. But
so we should try and petition,
oh,
Godzilla versus Kong, Snyder cut or
one
something like that.
Wingard edition, Wingard cut.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, uh, yeah. For as much as that is a good idea, as much as I want to focus on some of the characters there, I
Mhm.
have a feeling half it's probably useless dialogue, like
Probably.
useless. For as much as I do want to see that,
Mhm.
a lot of it's kind of useless. 'Cause, yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty good.
That one
Going
was
those
good.
two, the midair fights between those two, that was very
Mhm.
good. Um, so did you get to read the comic book Godzilla Dominion yet?
I have not yet.
It's the prequel to Godzilla vs Kong, and I actually wish I have it, and I got to read it, and I wish they actually released that before they released the movie, so
Mhm.
more people could read it because it actually explains a lot more about Godzilla's mentality
Mhm.
and why he didn't kill Kong. In the comic books, what they're explaining is Godzilla just wants them to submit and pretty much go back to sleep. He doesn't want to kill them, and he does
Mhm.
not really kill any of the Titans, with the exception of one. His whole goal is just for them to, pretty much be at peace, and that's one of the reasons why it kind of
Mhm.
explains, with that in mind, that kind of explains why Godzilla spares Kong, because it's like he just wants him to submit. That's it.
Mhm.
And then Kong gets to rule the whole Earth. Godzilla gets to rule the surface. You
Mhm.
know, so I kind of wish that that actually came out a bit earlier than what it did. As far as like human characters that I remember very distinctly, that would probably be Miki Sagusa from
Mhm.
the Heisei series. She's the
Mhm.
one who has like psychic powers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's actually in um, Godzilla versus Biollante all the way to Godzilla versus Destroyer as the same character. So it gives a
Mhm.
lot to. That's why the Heisei era is considered one that you can actually continue watching, and it feels like it's a actual series rather than the other movies that are their own movie without having any reference to the others. So
Hmm. The Jerry line says Team Godzilla or Team Kong.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla. Oh, did you hear about all the shade they kind of threw at the Kong fans?
Oh, what happened?
Well, Altiori, she's another YouTuber. She's really good. She was talking about this was like last month when after most people had seen it,
Mm-hmm.
and Adam Wingard stated that Godzilla beat Kong at only half power because he used up half his power to drill that hole into this hollow Earth.
Mm.
So he essentially beat him with one hand tied behind his back,
Oh my
pretty
god.
much. Yeah. And then
I
they got
do.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
go on.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do wish though that they Kong had like some sort of like family power or something,
Like the
like he
electricity
discovered,
power from, like
like
the
he discovers
electricity power.
from Middle Earth.
Oh, like that kind of thing. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about. Yeah, he kind of was at a big disadvantage there.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought he would have the electrical power like he did in the original King Kong
Yeah,
versus
that's what I
Godzilla.
was thinking
Yeah,
too.
that's what I thought because it really wasn't that fair of a fight. In all
Mm.
honesty, I mean, you're looking at a giant ape that has an axe, but then you look at Godzilla who just literally killed a three-headed space demon. Um, it's like,
Mm.
how can you compare these two? Especially, and that was the only thing. For as much as I love Burning Godzilla, even in Godzilla King of the Monsters, for as
Mm.
much as I love that scene,
Mm.
I think they did that too early. I think that should have been saved for another movie because that is so overpowering that it's like
Yeah.
you look at Kong, it's like, oh God, he's dead in 5 seconds.
Mm.
I really I think they should have saved that for another one. But I mean, I'm glad it's in there. But it's just like when you really think about it, that's like way overpowered.
Well, then
Compared to
again,
Kong.
too, if you think about it, they did only have a deal for like what 3, 4 movies. So.
Yeah. So as far as we know, as of now, Toho has not made any official statement as
Mm.
far, nor has Legendary as far as continuing with Godzilla, but they have had rumors about a sequel with Kong in the Hollow
Right.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, Son of
So
Kong or something, if I
Thunder
remember
Kong,
right.
which is kind of odd title, but I mean,
Mm.
unless he finds I wonder if he does find other members of the species there. I would not be
Yeah.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with that angle. I would
Mm.
not be surprised. Um, but yeah, as far as we know right now, as far as Godzilla goes, there's no real word, and I think what kind of is holding back on the word was they want to see what the Japanese reaction is to the Godzilla versus Kong, but I don't know if you heard this or not, but Japanese theaters are still delaying being open, so that movie got delayed even longer.
Right.
It still has not officially released in Japan yet.
Oh man.
Yeah, they said May. Now they're saying June.
Oof.
Yeah, I think that's what they're waiting for. But since it has not come to theaters there, they haven't been able to really talk with Toho about it,
Mm.
which is that kind of sucks. Like I know for mind you, being an island nation like Japan, COVID is very, very scary for them because you're on an island. Where are you going to go?
Mm.
You're stuck with everybody. So I kind of see why they're more hesitant there
Mm.
to lift any type of restriction. Um, so that's why I think in Japan, like a lot of the movies are going to Netflix Japan. I think
Mm.
and TV series and stuff like that to be shown.
Mm.
Because I guess Netflix is pretty big in Japan.
Yeah.
I
Probably
know
less here
Toho
too.
made a deal with Netflix, and Netflix Japan will have all of the Godzilla movies available.
Oh.
Yeah, but not only in Japan. So
Well,
yeah,
I guess I know where I'm moving to now.
yeah. Well, I actually got to visit Japan.
Mm.
It was actually a lot of fun.
That's good.
I went when I was in junior high.
Ah,
Yeah, really nice.
I
Kind
want
of,
to check. Oh, go ahead.
kind of fun story. So I went in like, what was it, 99, I believe. So it was like 99.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, I'm a big Godzilla fan and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So as a surprise, the host family that I stayed with for a week went to the toy store and got me a toy of Godzilla, but it was Godzilla '98. It was the TriStar Godzilla. I'm like, out of,
Oh.
really, out of all the other, I put on a really good face, and I said, "Oh, thank you, I really appreciate it. You didn't have to do this, that kind of thing." But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, really, out of all the other Godzillas that you could have grabbed, you okay?
How did you know they weren't like screwing with you at least on
No, they
that?
weren't. They were very sweet, and it's like I think they just misunderstood. I like the traditional Godzilla, not the American, but hey,
Uh,
it's
uh,
yeah. Also, you haven't lived until you see a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial in Japanese. That was great. Um, yeah, seeing animated Colonel Sanders spewing out Japanese, that's the best.
well, at least it's not like that hot date simulator game
Oh yeah,
where
that one. How is that even a thing? I'm trying to figure. I was trying to wrap my head around that, and I'm
I
trying to figure
honestly
out how
thought it
that.
was like an April Fool's joke, in all honesty, when I heard about it. Because I believe it was announced somewhere in April or something.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly. Did Godzilla win in Godzilla versus Kong Legendary? Not really, but yeah, we got a pretty good many shots in. I put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, but since you liked the Kiryu design, what did you think of Mechagodzilla's design for King Godzilla vs Kong?
Um. Well, it was good. It just felt like maybe a little too bland for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people were saying it
And it
looked.
felt like a Michael Bay Transformer, if
Yeah,
anything.
I think my big thing with it is it didn't distinctly look like Godzilla.
Yeah.
You kind of needed to look a bit more like Godzilla because as far as design wise, but as far as how it was utilized, I thought that was cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
how it was utilized was pretty cool, but I just wish it had more features that looked like Godzilla, namely the head
Mm,
and the dorsal plates, because
yeah.
it really didn't have a good design when it came to that.
Mm,
Um, I thought it was interesting how I was trying to do the kiss of death on Godzilla. This strange bit of irony,
mm.
and Godzilla's face says it all. It's like, oh fuck.
It's
He's
like the
like,
kiss of
shit.
death.
It's like, no, I'm supposed to do this move. Um, but there's there. So now as far as what other than Godzilla and Kiryu, what's one of your favorite monsters designs?
Probably Biolante.
Yeah, that was unique.
Mm,
Also,
because
just all the wires that they needed
yeah,
to make that thing.
I mean, you have to imagine too. It had to be a nightmare for some of those puppeteers or whatever
Oh
to
yeah,
get those like tentacles to attack just
yeah,
right. You know.
uh, yeah, yeah. And Biolante was huge.
Hmm.
I love the concept of it being biologically engineered
Hmm.
um, monster with Godzilla cells and cells of a plant. I thought that was
Hmm.
actually really
Because he,
inventive.
yeah, and plus it was supposedly trying to be a resurrection of, I believe, the daughter of the scientist
Yes.
who
Yeah.
made that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like an immortal being. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. yeah, I thought that was a very good design and movie.
Mhm.
Um, so as far as design go, Biolante is one of them, but I also um, like the design of Mecha King Ghidorah.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I thought that was a good overall design. How it was utilized and that sort of thing. So that's why I was always partial to like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in 1991.
Mm.
Mainly because I like that. If you really think about it, too, the whole Godzilla series as a whole has touched on just about every type of science fiction trope you can think of, from space to time
Mhm.
travel to environmental to undersea kingdoms and whatnot. I think
Mhm.
they literally have done pretty much every science fiction trope to date.
Yeah, pretty much. It feels like it.
Yeah, I mean, even Jet Jaguar is almost like a superhero. So
Actually, I believe I read somewhere
uh-huh.
too. It was supposed to be like a parody of Ultraman, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah, and then Toho had their own Ultraman type show called Zone Fighter, and
Mhm.
Godzilla was actually in Zone Fighter. It was a
Oh.
TV series. Yeah. So you have that, and then yeah, Jet Jaguar was kind of like a parody of Ultraman.
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting there. Um, Now, as far as um, what was I going to say? As far as like any type of thing you want to see in the future, what would you like to see in the future? Would you like to see Toho do more Godzilla movies, or would you like to see Legendary do more movies, or both?
Probably a bit of both, in all
Yeah,
honesty.
yeah. There's a bit of division some with some Godzilla fans. Some are strictly they just want Toho to do it. Some want Legendary to do it. I say let both of them do it. There's plenty of room for both series.
Mhm.
Um, Also, too, if they play the cards right, they could stagger them. You have one year that Toho has a movie come out, you have another year that Legendary comes out, so you could
Yeah.
stagger them. You know, I don't see why they couldn't do something like that. I think that would be completely fine.
Mhm.
Um, you know, um, one of the things that was rumored that Mike Daughtry had stated that he wanted to do Godzilla series based in like BC times, like the ancient civilizations that they're talking about.
Oh,
He
that would
wanted
be
to
kind
do
of
he wanted to do like
nifty.
something. It was something like Game of Thrones. Like each civilization would have a kaiju avatar. Like Godzilla would represent one civilization, then like Rodan a different one. And they would have these battles with each other because the
Mm.
redacted text is what talks about that. The redacted text in King of the Monsters talks about how these ancient civilizations worship the Titans, but then people wanted to control, even back then, wanted to control the Titans. This led to the Titans revolting against the ancient civilizations and then thus, you know, destroying them. And then King Ghidorah comes and wipes out all the rest of
Mhm.
them. So, you know, so I think that would be a cool show.
Another one that would be kind of like a good spin is like a Pacific Rim versus Godzilla crossover, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Guillermo del Toro teased about that. He said he had a picture of Godzilla in Hong Kong, and then he put a picture of like the Jaeger in Hong Kong. Because it has that similar lighting. And he
Mhm.
said, I'd love to see this. And then everyone's like, quit teasing us. Well, here's the thing, though. The Jaegers and the Kaiju and that are actually a little smaller than Godzilla.
Yeah,
I think
and
theirs is like 60 meters tall, and Godzilla's like way over almost 400
yeah,
feet tall. So, yeah, be a
maybe
bit of
like a
disparity.
younger, newer version of Godzilla, maybe.
Yeah,
Because you got to remember, Kong was smaller when he was younger too.
yeah, yeah. One of the things too is um, wonder if Toho does agree to extend the Godzilla license, my question would be, where do they go with that series then? Obviously
Godzilla
you can,
versus Gigan for one.
yeah. I mean, I'd like to see more of what the world building that King of the Monsters did. More of like Jonah from
Mm.
the eco terrorist and stuff like that, because
Yeah, I
they did
want
a
to.
lot of hints about like they said about the Sahara Desert being turned into a forest. That is actually a plot from Godzilla vs. Biollante, where
Mm.
they're talking about that. So it's like he left a lot open, and there's a lot of Easter eggs for Godzilla fans that we caught on to right away because
Mm.
he's a big Godzilla fan himself. So I would like to see him do more, maybe not necessarily directing, but more production or like script writing or something like that.
No, actually, now that we're on the back on that topic, that I did have a question though. How did they get another head of Ghidorah? Because isn't there supposedly two heads?
Yeah, I
If
don't
that,
get that either. In the book, it said they sold another head, but the only head that survived from King of the Monsters was the one that Godzilla tore off. He disintegrated all the rest
yeah,
of the heads later. So I don't know what if they did a lore change on that or what, because that made no sense to me. I
yeah,
remember seeing that in the book, and I don't know what they're talking about. I really don't. That's kind
yeah,
of silly.
because I was like, when I was watching, I'm like, couldn't help but think, okay, they got the one head there, but how they get another? I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't it
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me.
because I mean, the only thing I can think of is supposedly that other head woke up, was beginning to regenerate the body, and then they cut one of the heads off as it's regenerating.
Yeah, but it was like dead though. It wasn't regenerating. All there's flies all over it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, they can, I guess, lore change. However, yeah, Rodan is my favorite kaiju monster. Yeah, Rodan's
Yeah.
always cool. Um, did Godzilla need help to beat King Ghidorah? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, he got a bit of help
Yeah.
from Mothra. Mothra sacrifice as usual. But yeah,
Hmm.
the only movie
Oh,
where
oh, that
Godzilla,
reminds me too.
what?
Didn't you see that supposedly another Mothra egg got laid?
Yes, yeah, that was another Easter egg at the very end credits. So
Hmm.
you had that. Really, the only Godzilla movie where Godzilla didn't get aid in helping defeat King Ghidorah was Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in 1991.
Hmm.
Um, that's the only movie where he was by himself and fought King Ghidorah by himself.
You
Um,
know, was a really trip because the King Ghidorah was Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, where King
oh yeah,
Ghidorah was
because that
actually,
that one, yeah, he was the good guy from that one.
yeah,
Which
that was
which
pretty.
still felt kind of weird because you still ended up rooting for Godzilla anyway.
Hmm.
You know, actually, if you look scene by scene, if you see Mothra's sacrifice in Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and then you look at Mothra's sacrifice in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, they're almost identical.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing that
Yeah,
too.
they're almost identical. Like I said, Mike Doherty, he really took a lot of the scenes from the original Godzilla series and like put it in that movie.
Hmm.
Uh, especially like Rodan sequence where he flies over the town, and it's just a shockwave of whirlwind of air,
Mm.
pretty much taking out the whole town. I mean, that is the classic Rodan. Same thing with him fighting the fighter jets. It's like the way
Mm.
that sequence was excellent.
Yeah, that
Uh,
sequence was good.
yeah, I mean, he was actually felt like they based off like how eagles, swoop down and literally take their prey into their talons, then bite them like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So
also how he like just mimics the spin of the jets
yeah,
and
it's like I can do it better.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Rodan was a really cool sequence. I know that's one of the top favorites of most Godzilla fans in that movie because it's like a fully realized version of what Toho was doing like way back in the '60s.
Mm,
in the 50s and 60s, for Rodan as a character.
mm,
So that's one thing I do appreciate with Godzilla King of the Monsters is they you can tell that movie was done very consciously by other Godzilla fans. Like you can
mm,
tell right away, they were into it. They wanted to make a movie like the classic. I always said, Godzilla King of the Monsters is if you took one of the Showa movies from the older Godzilla series and then put like modern computer graphics to it, and there you got that's the same type of movie they made.
mm,
Like even the plot itself felt like a Toho movie plot. I mean, it
mm.
just did. Um, it just felt that way. So what else was there? Now have you played any of the Godzilla games?
I played Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. Godzilla Saves the Earth. I
Hmm.
think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla Unleashed.
Hmm.
And finally, this recent Godzilla game.
Yeah. The PS4 game.
Yeah, I had to track that down too. Like some
Oh,
of the
I, I,
PS.
I bought it on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah,
Um, Fun fact:
see,
it's not actually available on PlayStation Network anymore.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, but if you already bought it, you can still download it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I
See,
was
I
shocked.
didn't get it when it was available, thinking, okay, it's gonna be available for a while, and then I
Well,
find out,
yeah, I actually
like,
I actually pre-ordered it so I could get the wallpaper for it on
oh,
the
nice.
PlayStation. Yeah, if you pre-ordered it, you got the wallpaper.
How is that anyway? Is it just like just the ink
It's
style Godzilla, or
Yeah, it's the ink style Godzilla, but moves a bit. Like it shows him breathing his breath, and then it shows him, swatting at a helicopter.
hmm,
Yeah, so it moves a bit.
that's interesting. I
Yeah, it's pretty
do
cool.
hope that they announce like another Godzilla game though.
Yeah, see, it's kind of hard because unless it's really a fighting game like Destroy All Monsters Melee,
Hmm.
um, Godzilla games don't translate that well.
Yeah, they do not.
They have a very hard time translating into a game form. For as much
Mm,
as you want it to be a game,
mm,
it's very hard to make it into a playable, fun experience. Because you have
mm.
to understand, like, for instance, the PS4 version of Godzilla, that game, a lot of people didn't like the tanky controls and how slow the monster move, but I'm like, no, that's based on the actual movies. They're making it feel like
Yeah,
you're a
Godzilla
man.
movie.
You're a man in a rubber suit. It's hard to
Right.
move around. That's literally how it's meant to feel. And
Yeah.
so, for as many people that were complaining about it, it's like you have to understand what they were going for. They were going for if you could play the movies. Here's how
Right.
it would go. You're not going to be like uber fast. You,
Mm.
you're you're a big sluggish, creature. Yeah, it's hard to
The only
kind of
problem I
translate.
have with that game is I wish that they kind of fleshed out the story a bit better on it. You know?
Uh, yeah, it really didn't have a story. It's just you destroying the city and then fighting other
Right.
monsters. That's it. That's the story.
Yeah.
Not much else to it. Though I will have to say that game is fun when you do like destruction mode as a different monster as well. Like if
Mm.
you're King Ghidorah, you're flying over and you're shooting the gravity beams all over the place
Yeah.
as you're flying. It feels like the movie, like it really
Mm.
does. They have do a good job to make it feel like the actual movie, and
Yeah.
you're actually controlling what's happening. But again, it it's hard to really translate that into a fun game because I'll be honest with you, there's parts of that game it's just mind-numbing boring because it's the same thing over and
Mm.
over. So
Yeah.
like it's just hard unless like it's Destroy All Monsters Melee was probably the most fun
Mm.
out of the series because it's just fighting. It's just a fighting game with you picking up buildings and throwing it at other monsters.
Another good one too, if I'm remembering right. It was either Godzilla Unleashed, or it was Godzilla Saves the World. I think it was one of
Earth.
the ones where it had a bunch of mini games you could play, and you could.
Oh, that's Save the Earth had a lot of the mini games to it.
Okay,
Yeah,
because those mini games were a lot of fun to me
yeah,
when I was
where
playing.
you were swimming as Godzilla and you were shooting at Ibira and all that stuff. Yeah,
Mm,
yep, yeah, that was fun. But yeah, those were really fun games. So
mm,
yeah, I remember playing those a lot. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things where as you know from a gaming perspective, it's just very hard to translate into a fun game
yeah.
without it being too I guess you could say too kidsy, I guess.
Mm,
Um, but if you can get the right amount of both, it can work. It's just hard to do.
mm,
Um, and also, a lot of times with those games, just the licenses for the Godzilla characters is so much that there goes a lot of your budget.
mm,
Just getting the license for them.
mm.
But um, and that's the other thing. That's like IDW does the Godzilla comic book series, and they've been doing it for quite some time. It's actually one of their more profitable comic book series, and but they had to spend a lot of money on the licenses for all of the monsters. They got the all-encompassing license, so they could use all the Toho monsters, but it was still very expensive, and they were taking quite a risk from what I read to actually purchase that because it might not have, the series itself might not have done very well. So,
Mm,
but what else was there?
mm.
So um, now, what did you think of the three movie anime series, the three movie animes?
Uh, my only problem with it was the CG animation looked terrible.
Oh yeah,
At
I
least on the
think that
human characters
well, and even
and
okay,
some of
I'm
the
gonna be honest with
monsters.
you. I didn't mind the story. I thought that was actually a very unique story.
Yeah, the story was
But
good.
yeah, I hate the CGI in anime
Mm,
because it doesn't look like they can do emotion very well in that type of setting. But
mm,
also, when you got to see Godzilla Earth, and he his movements are very stiff because again the CGI is very um, you know not as flexible, and
mm,
so it's different if it's traditionally animated, like this new Singular Point. They do a mix of both traditional
mm.
and CGI, and I think it works a lot better
Yeah, it
when you
almost
do a
looks
mix.
like a Ghibli movie almost.
Yes, yeah. And I I didn't get to see the whole series, like I've said, but I did get to see clips of it, and I do like how they are portraying it with both a mix of traditional animation with
Mm,
CGI. I think that does very well. Like, you ever watch the series, anime series Attack on Titan?
yes.
Yeah, like that type of animation because that's a mix of like CGI plus
Mm,
actual animation, and yeah, that series is great. But I don't. Do you remember the whole thing with that? There was like a 2 year wait between season one and season two. Did you hear about that whole thing?
yep.
Yeah. Well, see, you have to understand for the viewers that are out there, you have to understand. Believe it or not, for as much as popular as anime is around the world, those Japanese animators do not get paid very well at all.
They do not, unfortunately.
No, they get paid peanuts.
Yeah,
Uh,
in all honesty, that's when I believe Crunchyroll was coming out, and they were saying, the money, all this money will go to the animators, and then we find out it doesn't really go to
no,
them.
no, it doesn't. And yeah, that was a big issue. Those poor. Well, to put it in context, guys, in Japan, their normal day isn't 8 hours, but more like 12 hours is their normal day. These
Mm-hmm.
animators were there for 14, 16 hours a day, and they get paid a set wage regardless how long they have to stay. So these guys were literally essentially being worked to death trying
Yep.
to animate these shows. And when news broke, Attack on Titan was one of them because that was the most popular. But they were saying
Mm-hmm.
this was across the board on different anime shows as well, and that's what really spurred a lot of people to like try to vote for change in the anime industry. Now nowadays, what they do with the help of actual this is why a lot of them went to CGI because it's easier to program in a computer and takes less time
That
than the
and
hand.
also uh,
Yeah,
the Chinese what is it? The Chinese artists or something that draw
yeah,
animators.
yeah. Yeah. They started commissioning Chinese animators as well as along with more computers to, um, draw these anime shows. That's why a lot of them have turned to the, for as much as we don't like how that looks,
Mm-hmm.
it's just easier and less stressful for the actual animators. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Well,
mean it's more. It
okay.
doesn't mean it's well. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't mean it's easier, but it makes the process go more smoothly. I should say.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, when you get sick, you are like shit out of luck too because
Hmm.
it's either you work or you're fired, basically, and you
Yeah,
can't take any
yeah,
sick days off. Which
yeah.
they do. I believe they have begun, like having a few artists in the back wing
Right.
now, just in case if one of their animators gets sick.
Yeah, that they can pull one, like what they call reserve animators, um,
Right.
to fill in. You have to understand it's not all countries, even if they are like more like first world countries. Not all countries have the same rights and work ethics as like say the United States. Japan is very much a first world country, but their traditions and culture are quite vastly different, especially when it comes to work. The argument of being worked to death is actually, unfortunately, a common thing in Japan. At one point, there was a big media article about it where many people in various businesses they were working 14, 15 hours a day on average, every single day of the week, to the
Mm-hmm.
point where their health was really starting to decline. Um, not malnutrition, not necessarily from not having enough food, but like constantly being up and insomnia was actually rampant for a while as well. So you have to take in factor that even though it is a very advanced country, there's a lot of laws that they don't have,
Mm-hmm.
like protections for employees that
Mm-hmm.
they don't have. So, you just really have to take the good with the bad, but it's something to put in perspective as far as that goes. It's actually one of the main reasons why a lot of foreigners they'll work in Japan for maybe a couple of years or two, and then they won't stay there, and it's a fact. It's because of the work schedule. It's just ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
for many people. Not just from the U.S. but from other countries in Europe and such on and that. And also, it has to do with the fact that Japan has a very rapidly dwindling population as far as newborns go.
Yeah.
Um, it's becoming actually a population issue to where I know a few years ago the Japanese government even started sponsoring speed dating uh, uh, meeting places, like
Huh.
government sponsored, meaning it was for free
Hmm.
for dating for like speed dating because no, not the used to be the average was people were having children at around like their early 20s. Now
Mm-hmm.
many people, both men and women, are so career oriented, and again, the reason why is because when you're working an average of 14 hours a day, how can you take care of a kid? It's
Mm-hmm.
very hard. So that's why they started to have more programs and more assistant programs for parents that have children, such as they're trying to get to where now, like legally, they're allowed that time off to make sure they raise the children, that kind of thing.
Mm. Did we answer this question? Legendary Lion said, "Did Rodan survive at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters
Yes, he
Legendary?"
did survive. Yes.
Hmm.
Yep, he did survive. Um, he bows down to Godzilla, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I always say he felt like Starscream in this
Mm.
in this iteration where mind you, he's not an alpha titan. He's kind of like a crony. It's like whoever's
Right.
strongest he'll side with. So because
Yeah.
if you look at the art book, I have the art book of that, and they
Hmm.
showed more of the ancient art and showed Rodan fighting alongside Godzilla against Ghidorah.
Hmm.
So you have to understand from Rodan's perspective, when the oxygen destroyer was set off, he thought Godzilla was dead. So that means now King Ghidorah is the alpha, and so he has to follow him now. It's that sort of thing.
Hmm.
It's like whoever's the strongest, that's who he's loyal to because he's not an alpha titan. Um,
Right.
Mothra, Godzilla, Kong, they're considered like alpha titans. So they don't listen to what King Ghidorah says. The others do.
Hmm.
So and you know that's probably the only other thing I will really wish they showed in Godzilla vs Kong is what happened to the other Titans.
Hmm.
The comic book does
Yeah.
say what happens, but I think I wish they had a bit more moments showing that kind of stuff because
Hmm.
it almost leaves what happens in Godzilla King of the Monsters like open ended, like without like any type of conclusion,
Hmm.
unless you read the comics. I'm talking as far as general audience goes.
Yeah.
But
So, what
go ahead.
exactly? How does it exactly end? Like, what happens to the monsters? Can you tell us? Or
Okay, so in the comic, what happens is Godzilla is now the Alpha Titan. His whole body reacts to the world itself. So he's going around the world making sure all the other Titans are fine. You
mm.
find out that's Cilia, the crab with the Cthulhu head.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so what happens is she starts acting up. She wants this radioactive bomb at the bottom of the ocean. Godzilla has to stop her so it doesn't destroy the Earth more.
Hmm.
He defeats her but doesn't kill her. She goes back into the ocean. It then shows Behemoth and another Titan fighting each other. Um, Essentially, Godzilla calms the two Titans down when he shows up, and then they then go back to their own uh, habitats.
Hmm.
So essentially, yeah, this is what happens. Godzilla is essentially just trying to calm them down, and it even states. See, the comic is actually what's cool is it's from Godzilla's perspective. It
Hmm.
it the text is how he is what he's thinking. So he's essentially saying since they all woke up at the same time, they're now
Hmm.
trying to fight each other for territory. Instead of just being woken up, every other century, every other couple centuries, they're all
Hmm.
now fully awake. So he has to kind of keep the peace between all of them.
Hmm.
And all the while he's trying to find a new home because his got destroyed by the nuke.
Right.
So, but it also shows that one of them captured uh, Titans. Godzilla, it was captured by Monarch. Godzilla doesn't like this, and so he destroys that oil rig that Monarch had, and
Hmm.
so and also it stated that reason why in Godzilla vs Kong, um, he actually seems like he's affected by the missiles is in the comic it states that these missiles are different. They seep into his skin. It's
Hmm.
almost like they're like toxic rounds. So
Oh,
it
that's
actually that's
interesting.
why he seems more injured when he get like interrupted when he gets hit by rockets in Godzilla vs Kong because they made the rockets into like toxins
Hmm.
that they can't kill him but they can disorient him.
Hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why those depth charges worked.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, and because again, it's not to kill him; it's just to disorient him. Um, and so what happens is then at the end he finds another home that's another like air pocket kind of
Mhm.
thing, and then it just ends from there.
Mhm.
But the comic itself is pretty good because um, they actually show what happens with the other Titans. But again, I wish they would kind of clarify that in the actual movie because if you look at the
Yeah.
opening credits, it says that they were all defeated, and then
Mhm.
it shows Godzilla, and then a lot of people just were assuming, oh, Godzilla killed them. It's like no, he just
Yeah.
literally calmed them down to where they're not hibernating, but they're in a docile state essentially.
Mhm.
That's what his goal was. So, yeah, it was a very good comic. If you get to pick it up, it's very good. Um, great art in it too. So,
That's cool.
but yeah. Another thing is, so switch gears just a little bit here. Are there any, you and I, Fade, we like to play lots of video games and stuff like that. Are there any games you're looking forward to that are coming out?
No More Heroes 3. That's about really the only one I'm looking forward to right now. And that.
Um, for me, I want. I like the original Horizon Zero Dawn,
Mhm.
and I saw the new one's going to be coming out. I'm interested to play that, but
Yeah.
I don't have a PS5, so you know.
Yeah, from what I've been hearing a little bit of that too. They've changed the design of the main character too now.
Yeah, there was a meme about that. It showed like PS4, PS5, and then PS6 was like this jarbled mess, and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that these days, that they have to tone down, a good-looking woman, you know.
Uh, you know what's, I'm gonna be honest here. What I don't understand is I don't see why so many people get up in arms about female characters in video games. They're not real
Yeah,
at all. They're not
I
real at
don't
all.
I don't understand. Like they say, the expectations of this woman's like, what expectations?
Well, okay. Have you ever played the Dead or Alive series?
Yes.
Dude, the Japanese don't care. That's
Yeah,
one
they
big
do
thing.
not.
Yeah, like those games. You know what's sad about those? They monetize every outfit, and people spend
Yeah.
thousands of dollars on that. That's insane.
Yeah,
That they do that.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
they finally got to the American branch on that, and they kind of toned it down.
Well, not
At
that
a,
much. I mean, trust me, the jiggle effects are still there, man.
mm,
But not as crazy as Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. I don't know if you played that one.
mm,
The effects on that one were just almost hilarious because they just make the jiggle effects like almost comical, but But again, they yeah, and like Japanese games, they really don't care.
yeah,
They really don't.
that's what you gotta love about JRPGs in some cases.
Yeah, well, same thing with what was that Korean
I don't know,
game that
JRPG.
came out? And it got a lot of flack in the actual creators pretty much told them to screw off. Who was that? Which game was that? It was a
Um,
mobile game or something. It was a Korean one. A couple months ago. What was that?
let's see. Let's see if we can find it.
I can't remember, but yeah, most of like the Asian companies and stuff like that. Like, you ever hear of
Mm,
Azure Lane?
I think so.
It's a mobile game about these ship girls. They're all the ships names are based on real life ships from World War II, but they're all girls, and they're all like
Oh, yeah, 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 I
yeah,
know what
they're
you're
all like
talking about now.
scantily clad and stuff like that, and Yeah, they don't care. They make
Yeah.
money. People buy the loot boxes for those all the time to get the girl they want.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah, never not a big deal. But like I said, I mean, hey, to each their own. But I mean, I don't see why people care about a character that's not even real.
Right.
It's just I mean, well, it's pretty sad too when you have these journalists that don't even play games.
Mhm.
I think that's what gets me the most mad because
Yeah.
that's like the meme about IGN where
Mhm.
they don't even play the games that they're reviewing. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or what about like they have to have this game like so easy or something when like Cuphead
oh,
came out a lot?
Doom Eternal.
Hmm?
Doom Eternal was that one. That's where the the game journalist gave it a low rating because he couldn't get past the Marauders that were in that game, and gave it a low rating because of that. And so many gamers just like flipped out because some of these guys were playing it on insanity mode, so
Mm.
and beating
Or
it.
what
So,
about Bloodborne? What about that?
oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, it's just yeah. I Well,
Yeah.
actually, like any of the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne games, they're those ones are just well, they're meant to be hard. They're meant to just
Mhm.
screw with you essentially. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of games like that, but yeah, for the most part, like when it comes to video games, I mean,
Yeah, you can't take
well,
these.
look at Mass Effect the Legendary Edition.
Oh
Um,
god.
Miranda's butt was the big one.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's her character. Her character was supposed to be like that.
Mhm.
It's most game developers say it's almost a parody about it. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's supposed to be like that. Um, yeah, it makes no sense, but that's why I always kind of worry about like the future of video games. Like everyone wants there to be, well, Mass Effect, Bioware, and that type of thing. Did you ever play like KOTOR, Knights of the Old
Kotor.
Republic?
No, I have not.
Okay, so that's Bioware. That's people who made Mass Effect and that type of thing. Everyone wants KOTOR 3, but I'm like, okay, with Disney having a lot of control over that, I don't think that's a good idea at this point.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a crappy game,
Yeah.
story wise. Uh, it's just oh, fun fact. Did you know that back in the 90s, Disney wanted to acquire the rights to Godzilla?
I did hear something of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Back in the 90s, they were before TriStar made Godzilla got the rights to make Godzilla '98. Toho put it up for bid to anyone, and in the early '90s, Disney was looking into it, but then they decided not to go with it. So
Because it probably wasn't a family-friendly movie. You know.
well, um, it wasn't that. It was actually so. Have you ever got to see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla '93?
Yes.
Okay, there's a scene where Rodan flies over the Magic Kingdom in
Mhm.
Japan because Disney has a Japanese
Right.
branch and they have a Magic Kingdom there. Well, supposedly behind the scenes, Disney did not want them to have that scene in there,
Oh.
and Toho ended up doing it anyway because they didn't care, and
Right.
that's when negotiation between them just stopped. So yeah,
Uh,
so yeah, it's like he doesn't even destroy it; he just flies over it in a badly rendered, you know, imprinted uh, puppet into that
mm,
scene. So I don't know what they were flipping out about. But anyway, that's what happened there. So yeah, originally Disney was looking to acquire the rights, but then negotiations fell through, which now they own Disney will eventually own the air you breathe the way it's going. But
Hmm.
uh,
Now I have a question. What is your least favorite Godzilla character?
character. Oh,
Yeah.
gee, probably honestly, Ibara,
Ah.
the sea monster. It's a
Yeah.
giant shrimp, and you know. Oh wait, no, not that one. The giant condor from the same movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the giant condor. Only because it's just like, wow. I mean, yeah, roast turkey. There you go. That's what
Mm.
pretty much gets turned into. But yeah, probably the most useless. How about you? Which monster you think was one of the worst?
Um. If I can remember it right, it was. Oh, what was it? It was one of the monsters in Manda, like the early design. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
when she looks like a giant garden snake, if anything.
Oh yeah, on Destroy All Monsters, the original
Mm,
Destroy All Monsters. Yeah, yeah, with no horns at all. Yeah, just
yeah.
that face. Yeah,
Mm,
flat face. Yeah, yeah, that was kind of stupid. Yeah, I like when
yeah.
it's more like dragon looking. That's a
Yeah,
lot better. A lot better.
which was funny too. In Final Wars, I didn't even know she was a dragon. I thought she was like a giant snake.
Oh yeah, it was dragon like. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I remember that. Doesn't last long, but none of
Mhm.
the monsters in Final Wars do really. Uh,
Yeah, that movie was just like a gigantic kaiju brawl, and I loved it for
yeah,
it.
that one Godzilla was way overpowered. Like he's pretty much like a serial killer in that movie. Just
Mhm.
killing monsters left and right. It's just a fun. That one's just a fun. Forget you're in the real world kind of movie and just enjoy that. That's that
Yeah,
movie. Just enjoy.
that was basically King of the Monsters almost.
Yeah. Yep. Just enjoy.
Or not King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Yeah. Just enjoy. Yeah.
Mm,
Because that movie was mainly the characters were Godzilla and Kong. That's the main
mm,
thing that was conveyed. And even Adam Wingard said that he would like to see less humans and more monsters in future movies if that
mm,
happens. But
yeah,
but at the same time, you kind of have to have people to drive the plot ahead.
right.
So I mean,
See, the only one that felt like to me that did a good balance on that was King of the Monsters.
yeah, that is a good amount of interesting people plus good monster fight scenes.
Mm,
Um, and it didn't get too long winded. Like you didn't have to go too long without a scene with the monsters. That's
right.
how that was. Um, I feel that also in that in Godzilla vs Kong, I felt like Kyle Chandler really was in it for what 2 scenes, and that's
Mm.
it. And I always think it's funny because Kyle Chandler was in Peter Jackson's King Kong. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember something like
So
that.
it's kind of funny that he's in both a Kong series and Godzilla series. So I thought that was
Mm,
pretty cool that they cast him.
mm.
Um, but anyway, what was I going to say? We're going to probably wrap it up here. Um,
Okay.
we've been on for about an hour here, so I'm going to wrap it up. I got a couple things I got going on, so I need to
Okay.
take care of those, and then yeah, I have a apartment inspection coming up, so
Oh,
I gotta get
yeah.
ready for that and clean up a bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, thank you for coming. Thank you, Legendary Lion. Appreciate your comments. And this has been GFan84 and Fade Salvation. Fade, do you have any upcoming events that you want to do some plugs for your channel?
Yeah, let me go ahead and grab the link, I think, from YouTube real quick. I'm just, really kind of figuring out what kind of content I want to do. So I'm doing some figures here and there, some videos here and there, and yeah, I'm basically really getting into the figures thanks to a certain someone. So,
Oh, okay.
but
That's cool.
yeah, let me get my page. Hold on.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I'm doing some videos off of that, and I'm also been doing, some gaming streams.
Yeah. If you can, tune into Fade's channel there. He does some gaming streams. And then you'll be able to chat with him while he's playing games. It's
Mm,
live stream, right? Most of them.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, you'll be able to tune in and then chat with him while he's there. Just send him some messages and he'll get it. He's responding to me plenty of times, so
Yeah.
um, much appreciated.
Mm. Here, I'll
And
actually send you the link here so that way
yeah,
you can.
yeah, you have the pro. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up here.
There you go.
Control G. Okay, here you go, guys. This is his
That's my.
YouTube channel,
Yep.
and you'll be able to check out Fade there. And I'll leave this up until we get off here, and then this will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you guys want
Mm.
to hop onto his channel and subscribe, I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Yes, I
Um,
will.
and I don't make that much content. I just really do this for fun. I just like to chat with people. I mean, I really have no inspiration to be a YouTuber at all. I just mostly do this to have fun and chat with people because where I live, I don't see that many Godzilla fans. So you know,
Mm.
but anyway, Fade, thank you for coming on. I
Yeah,
appreciate it,
problem. Yeah.
and I hope everyone out there has a great night. Take care, everyone. And this has been G Fan, and have a good night.
Fade salvation fading out.
Yeah, fade out.